Hey up gang, I can use the word gang to address a large group of people. How are you doing today? Well, summer has arrived, kind of. We had a few false dawns. We could say a false dawn meaning when something looks as though it's going to happen but then doesn't. And what I mean is, in May we had some really hot weather, but for the last 3 weeks it's been pretty terrible, to be honest. The last week and a half especially, it's been raining cats and dogs almost every day. And raining cats and dogs means it's raining a lot. It's an idiom which you can use, which means it's raining a lot. So I referenced a few weeks ago that I would eventually show you my completed greenhouse. So here it is, ta-da! And I'm really happy with how things have come along. So let me now just show you around. I'll show you inside my greenhouse. As you can see, I'm choosing to grow tomatoes in here, but I've also got some coriander, parsley and basil growing. And the reason I'm growing these herbs in the greenhouse is because they are great companion plants. So companion is a word, it's a synonym of friend. And so obviously basil, coriander, and which other herb have I got? Basil, coriander and parsley are great at attracting insects into the greenhouse, which will help me to pollinate the flowers on the tomatoes. And pollinate is a verb. It's what insects do when they bzz, they land on one of the flowers and then they bzz, go to a different flower and pollinate the flowers and turn them into fruit. And of course that is essential when you're growing tomatoes. Whew, it's absolutely mafting inside the greenhouse, so I'm going to step out. And mafting is a word which means extremely hot. It's kind of slang. I could say it's boiling hot, but mafting. I'm just going to go back in here and show you, because I'm actually having a little problem with my tomatoes at the moment. You might actually have clocked it. Clocked it is a way of saying that you can see something. So if you take a look here at the leaves on this tomato plant and also over here, and in fact about half of my plants, you can see that the leaves have all started curling. And so curl means to move upwards or down. Think about your toes or your fingers. You can curl your fingers and toes. They've all started curling up, and actually I'm a little bit perplexed as to what to do. And perplexed means confused, very confused, because, well, the internet is full of information, but when I try to read to find out what is causing this problem, well, it says it could be too much water, not enough water, too hot, too cold. Temperatures are very changeable, meaning up and down during the day and night. So it's very difficult to actually pinpoint, and we can say pinpoint, which means to specifically identify something. It's difficult to pinpoint what the actual issue is because, well, I just don't know. So I have a plan, and actually I started implementing my plan. So to implement means to put into practice, to do something. And so what I'm going to do is selectively, just pick a few, water these two plants every day for the next week and see if they perk up. Perk up means to improve. And see if it fixes the problem. Wow. Let me get out of this greenhouse. Here's another synonym for you. It's sweltering. Whew. You can see me sweating. It's sweltering today, particularly in the greenhouse. It's probably about 25 degrees today, but it's, as you can see, if I show you the sky, it looks a little bit moody. There could be some rain in the air. I'm not sure. But in the greenhouse, underneath all the glass, it's very hot. So, if I show you around the rest of the garden, here we have the beetroot and carrot, which I showed you when I was sowing them. That's what we do, we sow seeds to put them in the ground. And they've really come on very well. In fact, these beetroot are doing excellent. So here are the latest carrots and beetroot which I'm growing, and they need thinning out. So to thin something out means to separate something, because there are too many plants growing and not enough space for them to grow. So later today I'm going to thin out the carrots and beetroot. Over here in this raised bed, these are my purple broccoli, and they look really impressive, but there's no broccoli actually growing at the moment, just lots of foliage, leaves. So foliage means collectively leaves. Lots of leaves, but no actual vegetables growing. Over here we've been really successful with our salad that we've been growing, but as you can see, if I just show you a bit closer, this is not rocket, which is what this is. This is in fact a weed, and there's lots of weeds, another one there. This is a weed. So a weed is something invasive which we don't want in our garden. So I need to go around the garden today and weed, we can use it as a verb, and do some weeding to remove all of the weeds. And in this raised bed over here, all of my strawberries, this strawberry plant is huge, and like the broccoli, it's got a lot of foliage, many leaves, but actually it hasn't produced any fruit yet. But you can see down here there's lots of fruit now, lovely strawberries starting to grow. However, I do have to do some maintenance with my strawberries because of these things here. You see that coming out from the plant? Well, that's called a runner. Strawberries produce lots of runners. It's how they procreate, I could say. It's how they spread and grow new fruit. But I don't want them to focus their energy, and that's what we can do. We can focus our energy on doing something. I don't want them to focus their energy on producing runners. Instead, I want them to focus their energy on producing fruit. So I need to cut down all of these runners. And excuse me for my appearance. I know I'm sweaty today, but I haven't had a haircut since February, and so I'm looking rather dishevelled. Dishevelled is an adjective which means untidy, hence this. And lastly, I'll just show you here, I've got some more strawberries. They're all doing well here on the hanging baskets. I've got some artichoke growing here. To be honest, the big beneficiary of all of the wet weather has been my rhubarb, which is here, and over here. If you haven't seen rhubarb before, we can eat this part. We can eat the stem, that's the part that grows up. This is the fruit. So later today I'm going to cut down all the stems and make some lovely rhubarb crumble to celebrate Father's Day, because in England tomorrow, the 21st of June, is Father's Day. Well, I hope you enjoyed the guided tour of my garden, and now you can see basically how things have developed and how everything is looking. And I'll give you another update in a few weeks' time when there is some fruit and vegetables which are ready to be harvested. And harvest is a verb. It's what we do when we pick, when we collect the fruit and vegetables that are ready to be consumed. Consumed in this case means eaten. And I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to getting lots of fresh strawberries. So fingers crossed, I hope the hot weather stays, because if it does, we should have lots of nice strawberries really soon. But there we go. Thanks for watching. See ya!